Have you been wondering what will happen next or how much story will be covered in season 2? Worry not, Throne Watchers. I have roughly figured out a vague timeline of what will happen in which episode based on all the leaks and rumors I've found. So in this video, I'll discuss the first 3 episodes of season 2 and what will happen in it, which will basically include the audition tape of Blood and Cheese, the filming of a funeral procession, etc. So stay tuned for that. Greetings, Throne Watchers. Judging from the rumor mill on Twitter and some of the leaks, the timeline seems a little bit different from the timeline in the books. But before we begin discussing that timeline, I wanna give a major spoiler warning for those who haven't read the books. If you don't wanna see any spoilers, you can check out my no spoiler updates video instead. So, let's begin. Here's a brief overview of the main events that I think will happen in each episode based on the leaks, rumors and my speculations. I'll discuss them in more detail along with some minor events after this overview. The first episode is titled A Son for a Son. This episode will cover Rhaenyra's grief, the Blacks searching for Luke's body, and will probably end at Blood and Cheese. The second episode will cover the aftermath of Blood and Cheese, like all the rat catchers in the city being killed, Corlys blocking the gullet and stopping the green ships from entering the Blackwater Bay, etc. The third episode will cover the funeral procession, and during that procession, the small folks will throw food at Alicent and Helena, probably because the herald will call Rhaenyra the Cruel, like Maegor, and the small folks will show their love for Rhaenyra. Jace will also probably win over Cregan Stark, either in this episode or in episode 5. I'll explain the reason when I'll go more into details. I'll discuss the next episode, which is called A Dance with Dragons, and the rest of the episodes in the second part of this video, which I'll post next week. Anyway, let's take a deeper look at each episode. I'll begin with what we know and then I'll speculate the rest. So the first episode, A Son for a Son, will be directed by Alan Taylor. According to Best of the Blacks, the first episode will be focused on Rhaenyra's grief over Lucerys. Rhaenyra will fly on Syrax to go look for Luke's body on a beach. Some of her soldiers will also volunteer to go look for Luke. Daemon will also go with her, either to help her or to bring her back safely. And then Rhaenyra will mourn her son. Graham Darling will play the role of a fisherman who will participate in a search for Luke's body in Shipbreaker Bay. This fisherman may or may not be involved in the retrieval of Luke's remains in an Alan Taylor directed episode. So that's why I think this fisherman will find Luke's body or whatever is left of it in this episode. According to House the Dragons, Matt Smith had been seen shooting scenes of Daemon in the streets of King's Landing with his gold cloaks, who remained loyal to him and Rhaenyra. The scene is said to be linked to Blood and Cheese and will happen in episode 1. So in this episode, Daemon will sneak into King's Landing in the night to meet with some of the loyal Gold Cloaks. We know Blood was a former sergeant of the Gold Cloaks, so he probably already knew Daemon. And as Miss Arya had shown in season 1 with Talia, she probably has more people working for her in the Red Keep, and Cheese could be one of those people. According to a leaked audition tape, Charlie C, aka Cheese, seems to be a servant in a castle, and he sneaks someone, probably Blood, into the castle to kidnap a royal prince.
The royals live up there. It's off limits, says. Different group of servants work there upstairs.
HBO is known to switch things up during the auditions, so the real scene could be a little bit different from just a kidnapping. In the tape, Charlie mentions that another group of servants work upstairs and he is not supposed to be upstairs. Could it be because he is actually a rat catcher? He seems reluctant and says that he got the man into the castle and his job was done. But after a bit of pressure from Boris, aka Blood, he admits that he does know the way upstairs after all and accompanies the man. Boris, aka Blood, is large, tough and very tall. He is a man who is willing to do violence without question. We know Blood is a pretty violent person. He was kicked out of the city watch for beating a whore to death. In the second scene, they both are in a royal's chambers and wonder whether it's the prince's quarters. Charlie, aka Cheese, seems to be willing to let it go, repeating again that he's not supposed to be up there. But his accomplice, Blood, says no prince, no gold, and tells him to search the other rooms while he searches down the hall. It lines up with the fact that it was Cheese who led Blood into the Red Keep, with Blood saying, "I am the blade, you are the map." We know Cheese was a rat catcher, and that's why a few things will happen in the next episode because of it. Also, sometime between April and June 2023, HBO had been looking for blonde twins aged 3 to 4 with shoulder-length hair to film for a few days. So it could be for this scene. Who do you think they were trying to cast? So, that's what I had heard about the first episode. Now, it's speculation time. I think we'll get to see Aemond return to King's Landing and the Greens' reaction to Luke's death. How do you think the Greens will react to this news? I think Alicent and Otto might get mad, like Cersei and Tywin got mad at Joffrey for cutting off Ned's head because they wanted the other side to bend the knee, which is pretty much impossible now, just like in Game of Thrones. But Aegon, on the other hand, just like Joffrey, might be happy about it, assuming he's on a power trip. At least that's how it looked moments after he was crowned. I still stand by what I said on our podcast after the season 1 finale. I think Aemond will pretend that he killed Luke on purpose. He won't want to show his weakness to others by telling them he lost control of Vhagar. Do you think he will tell the truth? Let me know in the comments below. I've already discussed in my Why Targaryens Intermarry video that the main reason the Valyrians wanted to keep their bloodline pure is to have full control of the dragons. Do you think Aemond not being a pure-blooded Targ could be the reason why he lost control of Vhagar? Anyways, the second episode will be directed by Claire Kilner. Episode 2 will cover the aftermath of Blood and Cheese, like Aegon getting enraged after hearing the news of his son's death and ordering all the rat catchers in the city being killed. Otto will bring in cats to replace them. Do you remember Arya chasing down the cats in Game of Thrones? I guess that's how the custom of keeping cats in the Red Keep began. Nicola Wright has been cast to play the role of one of the innocent rat catchers who will be captured and killed after Blood and Cheese because Cheese was a rat catcher as well. The showrunners promised that the episode will be spectacular. Also, Lord Corlys will block the gullet in this episode. Steve Toussaint, aka Corlys Velaryon, was seen on set filming scenes on a boat in his armor, preparing to block any ships belonging to the Green from entering Blackwater Bay to cut off any trade from King's Landing. And now it's speculation time. I think we'll also see Jace travel to the other houses like House Arryn, Massey, Manderley, etc. to get support for Rhaenyra. So in this episode, we might see him win over Lady Jane Arryn to Rhaenyra's side. What do you think? The third episode, which will cover the funeral procession for Prince Jaehaerys, will be directed by Geeta Patel. She also directed the scene of Viserys walking to the Iron Throne. According to the Spanish website Los Siete Reinos, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, after the Kingsguard called Rhaenyra the Cruel, during Prince Jaehaerys' funeral procession, where the Greens will be parading around his body for everyone to see it, the small folks will throw fish and fruits at the carriages carrying the Greens and will chant, "Long live Queen Rhaenyra." This can be proved by the photo of the funeral procession, which was posted by Redanian intelligence, where the herald says, "Behold the work of Rhaenyra the Cruel." In this episode, you can see someone has thrown food at Queen Alicent and her dress is ruined by it. This yellow stain wasn't on her dress before the filming. They also claim that, according to their local sources, after the people of Flea Bottom will throw food at Alicent and Helena's carriage, they will then mob them. The Kingsguard will kill some of the small folk in defense of their queens, who will be forced to flee back to safety as the people chant Rhaenyra's name. Although this scene wasn't in Fire and Blood, it's very clear in the books that Aegon's rule wasn't welcomed by the small folk. According to the same article, multiple revolts will start immediately at the beginning of Season 2 and will culminate with the taking of King's Landing, aka Flea Bottom. It implies that people will be mad at Aegon taking the Iron Throne from Rhaenyra. We know Daemon was well loved in Flea Bottom, and according to the rumors, Mysaria had been spreading rumors that Rhaenyra had been sending food to the people, and that's why the small folk will support Rhaenyra over Aegon. And they probably also remember Aegon visiting the children's fighting pits. Also, on the location, some fans confirmed the presence of Rhaenyra, Alicent and Kristen Cole in the city when they took photos with Emma D'Arcy, Olivia Cook and Fabian Frankel. If Rhaenyra really sneaked into King's Landing, why do you think she would do that? To see the look on Alicent's face? Or do you think they just called Emma D'Arcy to try to fool our super smart fandom, just like David and Dan used to do with Game of Thrones? I have posted lots of update videos during the filming of Season 7 and Season 8 as well. Anyways, it's hard for me to imagine King's Landing being taken at the very beginning of Season 2. However, I do think it's not impossible for it to happen at the end of Season 2. Although, I think it would make more sense if it had happened in Season 3. But who knows? The showrunners might wanna show Rhaenyra's rule for a complete season. What do you think? Anyways, I won't be surprised if they filmed the riot scenes, which might also happen after the Dragonhead parade, immediately after the funeral procession, as both scenes required lots of extras. So it would save them a lot of time and effort to film those scenes together. And we do know Emma D'Arcy was spotted at the filming site as well. So yes, I do think King's Landing will be taken by the end of Season 2, even though it happens a little later in the books. The rest of the battles can still happen the way they did in the books. What do you think? Anyways, Javi Borrega posted on Twitter, "Today the blue chroma appears to be completely installed, and from what can be seen, it is seen that the facade will not be covered, but the interior of the church will be, which probably means the funeral rites for Prince Jaehaerys were also filmed inside the church. As you can see by the pictures posted by Eduardo Villanueva, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, the sept will appear again in Season 2. According to Best of the Plaques, who mostly translated tweets from House the Dragons, Matt Smith has been seen on set today dressed in armor for a solo scene. So Daemon will join the fighting sometime in Season 2 as well. Could it be him taking Harrenhal, or will it be him supporting the Black's armies in the minor battles? We know minor battles of the Riverlands, like the Blackwoods versus the Brackens, etc., will also take place around this time. In this image, we can see lots of dead Blackwood soldiers in red and black, and some dead horses as well. The other army's soldiers were wearing yellow. Best of the Blacks also posted, according to the last set pictures, a bloody battle scene is being prepared, with some men dressed in red while others are in yellow. It could be the Blackwoods versus Brackens or the rumored battle scene involving Rhaenyra fighting. Moving on, according to House the Dragons, Ulf the White and Hugh Hammer will be residents of King's Landing. In episode 3, King Aegon will be escorted by the Goldcloaks to the Cock Inn brothel, and Ulf the White will be present at this inn as well. Ulf will be drinking and will be talking about his bastardy, aka his Targaryen blood. They will have no interactions. They will just be present in the same place at the same time. Hugh Hammer will also have scenes in King's Landing before the seeding. If this rumor is true, it will explain a lot of events that will happen later in the dance. And now it's speculation time. I also think Jace will probably win over Cregan Stark in this episode, signing the Pact of Ice and Fire, because according to the rumors, Jace will welcome the dragon seeds along with his mother in the 5th episode. By the way, it's funny how the secret pact that Jace made with Cregan Stark is called the Pact of Ice and Fire. I wonder if there was more to it than just the Starks being ice and the Tarks being fire. We've already heard the rumors that the White Walkers might appear in Season 2. So if it's going to happen, it might happen in this episode. I've seen many people wondering how the White Walkers are still here. I've already explained what they were doing in this time in my What Woke the White Walkers, Craster's Sons theory, and my Game of Thrones Season 7 Episode 5, Whites vs White Walkers, etc. videos. In those videos, I've explained my theory about how the Night King, after being turned, he had been biding his time. In my Why There Are No Female White Walkers video, I also explained why he sent a female White Walker to the Night's Watch. The Night King had been trying to raise his army by creating more White Walkers. According to the latest set pictures, scenes will be filmed at the Wall as well. This could implicate that Jace and Cregan Stark will visit the Night's Watch. I'm not particularly sure if Jace will face the White Walkers, but we know they will appear at some point. So it could just be a random Night's Watch or one of the wildlings coming face to face with a White Walker. I think we might get to see Jace trying to take his dragon north and his dragon refusing to go there, which is what happened when Queen Alysanne, aka Viserys and Daemon's grandmother, had tried to take her dragon Silverwing to the north. That's what will happen in the first 3 episodes. Since the video was getting too long, I decided to post it in 2 parts, and I'll post the second part next week at the same time. House of the Dragon Season 1 is rumored to premiere in summer of 2024. So, what are your thoughts on this timeline? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button below, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. 7 blessings to you.